My child, you are already late to this, and you know it deep inside. You have felt it in the quiet moments when the noise fades and your heart grows uneasy. You have felt it when you tell yourself you will deal with things later, yet later never comes. I am not saying this to shame you. I am saying it because truth spoken now can still save what delay has been slowly taking from you. You have run longer than you should have. You have postponed what mattered most. And even as you tried to convince yourself that everything was fine, something in you kept whispering that time was slipping away. That whisper was not fear. It was awareness. It was me calling you before the distance became too great. Stop everything right now and put this first. Not because I need your attention, but because your soul needs it. You have given your best energy to things that cannot love you back. You have poured your strength into surviving days instead of tending to your heart. You keep moving because stopping feels dangerous, because stopping might force you to feel what you have been avoiding. But I am asking you to stop because movement without direction slowly becomes loss. Time has been slipping through your hands, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, one distracted moment at a time. And now I am stepping in, not to scold you, but to wake you. I know the real you now, not the version you show others, not the version you use to get through the day. I know the one you hide when the lights go out. I know the thoughts you never speak. I know the fears you bury beneath productivity. I know the regrets you carry silently, hoping no one ever asks the wrong question. I know the way you pretend you are fine when you are not. And still, I am here. Knowing you fully has not pushed me away. It has drawn me closer. You have tried to hide parts of yourself even from me. You told yourself I would not understand. You feared that if I saw everything, I would turn away. My child, there has never been a moment when I did not see you completely. Hiding did not protect you from my sight. It only kept you from my peace. The parts you conceal are the very places I long to heal. The truths you avoid are the doors through which freedom enters. I am not exposing you to hurt you. I am revealing you to save you. This is not appearing by chance. I need you to hear that without doubt. You did not stumble into this moment. You were led here by a love that refuses to give up on you. A love that has watched you drift and waited patiently for the right moment to speak again. This is a warning, yes, but it is wrapped in love because love cares enough to warn. Love does not stay silent while someone it cherishes walks toward emptiness. Love steps in, even when it risks being rejected. If you are seeing this, you are standing at your last chance to respond in this way, in this moment, with this awareness. Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying I will stop loving you if you ignore this. My love does not expire, but moments do. Awareness does. Windows of clarity do. There are times when the heart is open enough to hear truth, and times when it closes itself just to survive. You are at a point where the heart can still turn. That is why this feels heavy. That is why this feels urgent. Not because doom is near, but because opportunity is. Do not ignore this, because what you do next will shape everything that follows. Not all at once, not instantly, but direction is set by response. You have reached a place where choosing nothing is no longer neutral. Remaining where you are will cost you something precious, even if that cost is paid slowly and quietly. I am not threatening you. I am respecting you enough to tell you the truth. Life does not stand still while you decide. It moves, and it moves you with it. You have told yourself that you still have time, that you will change when things settle, that you will put me first when life becomes easier. But life rarely becomes easier on its own. It becomes clearer when you choose what matters most. You feel late because you are late, not in worth, not in love, but in attention. Your heart hath been waiting for you to return to it. I have been waiting with it. I see how tired you are. Tired of pretending. Tired of carrying everything alone. Tired of feeling like something is missing even when your days are full. That tiredness is not failure. It is a signal that you were not created to live disconnected from truth, from purpose, from me. You have been living off fragments when fullness has always been available. I know you are afraid of what putting this first might cost you. Afraid of what you might have to let go of. Afraid of who you might have to become. But hear me carefully, my child. Anything you lose by choosing life was already draining you. Anything that must be released was never meant to carry your future. I am not here to strip you of joy. I am here to return it. This moment feels intense because it is honest. There is no performance here. No applause. No hiding place. Just you and truth. Just you and love speaking plainly. I am not asking you to fix yourself. I am asking you to stop running. To stop postponing. To stop pretending that delay has no cost. You feel late because your soul knows it has been calling out for attention longer than your mind wants to admit. I know the excuses you use. I know the reasons you give yourself. I know how convincing they sound. But I also know what happens when a heart keeps choosing comfort over calling. The light does not go out suddenly. It fades slowly, and you begin to live beneath what you were created for. I am interrupting you now because I refuse to watch that happen without reaching for you again. You may feel exposed right now. That is not danger. That is the beginning of freedom. Exposure in my presence does not lead to rejection. It leads to healing. I already know everything you are afraid to admit. And I am still here. Still calling you my child. Still inviting you closer. Say, Father, heal my heart and make me whole if you long for His restoration. This is your moment to put this first. Not tomorrow. Not after one more distraction. Now. Because now is when your heart is listening. Now is when truth still stirs you. Now is when response can still change direction. I am not asking for perfection. I'm asking for honesty. For willingness. For a single step toward me instead of another step away. My child, do not harden yourself against this urgency. Let it soften you instead. Let it bring you back to what matters. You are late, yes, but you are not lost. You are exposed, but you are not condemned. You are warned, but you are deeply loved. This is not chance. This is mercy meeting you where you are. And what you do next will matter more than you know. My child, you are late, and you know it. I am not saying this with anger in my voice, and I am not saying it to wound you. I am saying it because your spirit already feels the truth of it, even if your mind has tried to avoid it. You have sensed it in the quiet moments when everything slowed down. You have sensed it when you told yourself you would deal with important things later, and later kept moving farther away. You feel it now because delay has weight, and that weight has been pressing on your heart. This is not condemnation. This is awareness. And awareness is mercy. I know how this happened. It did not happen all at once. You did not wake up one day and decide to drift. You simply kept choosing later. Later when you had more time. Later when you felt stronger. Later when life was less demanding. Later when you felt more ready. Each time, it sounded reasonable. Each time, it felt harmless. But later, after later, slowly became distance. Distance between what you knew was true and what you were living. Distance between your heart and the still voice calling you back. You did not mean for it to happen, but it did. Please support our channel. Our mission is to bring peace, happiness, and devotion to God into your life. If you wish to help us continue this work, you can kindly show your support by donating through Super Thanks. You felt it before you understood it. That subtle unease that followed you even on good days. The quiet sense that something important was being postponed. You tried to silence it by staying busy. You filled your hours so you would not have to listen to your heart asking hard questions. You told yourself you were just tired, just overwhelmed, just going through a phase. But deeper than all of that, your spirit knew. You were late to what mattered most. I want you to hear me clearly now. I am not accusing you. I am not standing over you with disappointment. I am standing in front of you with truth, because truth is the doorway back to life. I know why you delayed. I know how heavy things became. I know how quickly days turned into weeks, and weeks into seasons. I know how easily the urgent replaced the important. I know how survival took the place of intention. None of that surprises me. None of that makes me turn away from you. But my child, delay has already happened, and pretending otherwise will not heal you. You feel late because something inside you knows you have been living beneath what you were created for. You have been giving your attention to everything except your soul. You have been responding to every demand except the quiet call to return. And each time you said later, a small space opened between us. Not because I stepped back, but because you kept moving forward without me. You did not fall. You drifted. And drifting is dangerous because it feels gentle. There is no sudden pain to warn you, and no loud crash to wake you up. Just a slow movement away from clarity, away from peace, away from alignment. You looked up one day and realized you were farther than you meant to be. That realization is not your enemy. It is your invitation. I see the way you try to justify the delay. You remind yourself of everything you have been through. You tell yourself you needed time. You tell yourself you were doing your best. And in many ways, you were. But honesty requires you to see that there were moments when you could have turned back and chose not to. Moments when you felt me tug at your heart, and you pushed the feeling aside. Moments when you knew what I was asking and decided to wait. That waiting did not keep you safe. It kept you distant. My child, awareness hurts at first because it exposes what we have avoided. But awareness also heals because it brings things into the light. You are not late beyond hope. You are late enough to feel the urgency, but not too late to respond. That is why I am speaking now. If this were condemnation, you would feel crushed. Instead, you feel awakened, unsettled, stirred. That stirring is life calling you back. I know you fear that being late means you have failed. It does not. It means you are human. It means you tried to carry too much on your own. It means you underestimated how quickly distance can grow when attention shifts. Failure would be refusing to see it now. Failure would be hardening your heart against this truth. but you are still listening. It tells me everything I need to know about you. You kept saying later because later felt safer than now. Now would have required change. Now would have required honesty. Now would have required you to face what you had been avoiding. Later felt easier because it postponed discomfort. But later also postponed healing. Later postponed peace. Later postponed the life you were meant to live. And now later has brought you here, feeling late, feeling exposed, feeling the weight of time. My child, do not confuse firmness with rejection. I am speaking firmly because this matters. Because your life matters. Because your heart matters. Love speaks gently when it can, and firmly when it must. I am not angry with you for being late. I am concerned for you because staying late too long can make delay feel normal. And I do not want you to accept distance as your default. You have been telling yourself that you would come back when you felt more worthy, more disciplined, more consistent. But returning was never about hurting. It was always about turning. Turning your attention. Turning your heart. Turning your direction. You did not need to fix yourself before coming back. You only needed to stop running. I see how tired you are from carrying the weight of delay. From knowing something was off but not knowing how to face it. From sensing urgency without clarity. That exhaustion is not a sign that you should give up. It is a sign that you were not meant to do this alone. You were not meant to live disconnected from me, even if you learned how to survive that way. My child, this is awareness, not accusation. This is truth, not punishment. You are late. Yes, but you are still wanted. Still seen. Still called. Still loved. I am not here to tell you what you have lost. I am here to show you what can still be restored. But restoration begins with honesty, and honesty begins by admitting what you already feel. You feel late because you are standing at a moment that asks for response. Not tomorrow. Not after one more delay. Now. This is not pressure meant to crush you. It is clarity meant to guide you. I am not pushing you away by naming the delay. I am pulling you closer by inviting you to stop pretending it did not happen. Look at me, my child. Not at your past. Not at your excuses. Not at your fear of change. Look at me. I am here, still speaking, still reaching, still calling you by name. You are late, but you are not abandoned. You are aware, and that awareness is the beginning of return. Stay here. Listen. Let this truth do its work in you. We are not finished yet. My child, put this first right now. Not later. Not after you finish one more task. Not after you settle one more problem. Right now. I am asking you this because everything else has already been first for too long, and your soul has been pushed to the very bottom of the list. You feel the cost of that even if you have not had words for it. You wake up tired even after rest. You move through your days full but empty. You accomplish things but feel no peace when you stop. That is not because you are weak. It is because your soul has been starving while everything else was being fed. I see how work took first place. Not because you loved it, but because you had to survive. You told yourself you would slow down once things were stable. You told yourself this pressure was temporary. But survival became your normal, and your heart learned to live on leftovers. I see how people took first place. Their needs, their expectations, their opinions, You learned to show up for everyone, even when it cost you pieces of yourself. You did not want to disappoint them. You did not want to be seen as selfish. So you kept giving, even when nothing was refilling you. I see how distractions took first place. The constant noise, the endless scrolling, the filling of every quiet space so you would not have to feel how empty it had become inside. You did not choose distraction because you were careless. You chose it because silence felt too heavy. In silence, your soul would speak, and you did not know how to answer it anymore. So you filled your life with movement and noise and small comforts, hoping they would be enough. And slowly, without meaning to, you placed your soul last. Not because you thought it was unimportant, but because everything else felt urgent. Bills were urgent. Responsibilities were urgent. Expectations were urgent. Your soul felt patient, defiant, like it couldn't wait. But my child, your soul was never meant to live on delay. It was meant to live on connection. When it is ignored, it does not scream at first. It starves quietly. And that is what you are feeling now. But this first right now, because this moment cannot be an afterthought. This cannot be something you squeeze in if you have time. If you wait until it feels convenient, it will never happen. There will always be another demand, another message, another task, another reason to postpone what matters most. I am asking you to choose differently now, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels selfish, even if it disrupts your routine. I know how uncomfortable this feels. The ordering priorities always does. It feels like you are neglecting something else. It feels like you are falling behind. It feels risky to pause when everything around you is telling you to hurry. But my child, hurrying without direction is how you ended up exhausted in the first place. You have been running so long that stillness feels dangerous. Yet stillness is where life begins to return. Right, I am nothing without you. Lord, if He is the breath that gives you strength. Your soul is starving, and starvation changes people. It makes them irritable. It makes them numb. It makes them anxious without knowing why. It makes them cling to small comforts that cannot satisfy. It makes them forget what fullness feels like. You have adapted to the hunger, but adaptation is not healing. Just because you learn to live with less does not mean you were meant to. I am not asking you to abandon your responsibilities. I am asking you to stop letting them replace me. I am not asking you to stop caring about people. I am asking you to stop losing yourself to please them. I am not asking you to remove every distraction. I am asking you to stop using them to avoid your soul. When everything else comes first, the soul suffers. And when the soul suffers long enough, the whole life feels heavy. But this first right now, because this moment is nourishment. This moment is not extra. It is essential. You cannot build a life of peace on a starving heart. You cannot expect clarity when the source of clarity has been ignored. You cannot expect rest when you have never truly stopped to receive it. I am not asking for your perfection. I am asking for your attention. You may feel resistance rising in you. Thoughts telling you this can wait. Telling you that you have more important things to do. Telling you that this feels too intense, too demanding. That resistance is not logic. It is hunger defending itself. When the soul has been deprived for too long, it forgets how to receive. It becomes suspicious of stillness. It becomes uncomfortable with depth. Do not let that resistance decide for you. My child, Putting this first does not mean everything else disappears. It means everything else finds its proper place. When I am first, work no longer owns you. People no longer drain you. Distractions no longer control you. Survival no longer defines you. Life begins to flow instead of being forced. Peace begins to return not because problems vanish, but because your heart is no longer empty. I know you are afraid that if you stop, things will fall apart. You have been holding everything together for so long that letting go even slightly feels dangerous. But you were never meant to carry everything alone. The weight you feel is not proof of strength. It is proof of imbalance. Strength does not come from carrying more. It comes from being aligned with the source of life. Put this first right now because your soul cannot wait any longer without consequence. Not dramatic consequence, not sudden disaster, but slow loss. Loss of sensitivity. Loss of joy. Loss of direction. Loss of yourself. I am interrupting you now because I see that happening, and I love you too much to stay silent. This will feel uncomfortable because you are reordering what has been out of order for a long time. Hunger always makes people impatient. Starving hearts struggle to sit still. But stay. Breathe. Let yourself receive. Let this moment matter. You do not need to fix your whole life right now. You need to choose what comes first. My child, you have tried putting everything else first, and it has left you tired. Try putting this first now, not as a rule, not as a performance, as a return, as an act of honesty, as a choice to stop living on leftovers. I am here to feed what has been starving. I am here to restore what has been neglected. But you must choose to stop and receive. Put this first right now, before another message, before another task, before another excuse. Not because I demand it, but because your soul needs it more than you realize. Stay with me here. Let the hunger speak. Let the order change. This is where life begins to come back. My child, I know the real you now. Not because you finally let something slip, not because you failed to keep your guard up, but because nothing was ever hidden from me to begin with. I have always known you fully. The difference now is not what I see, but what you are beginning to see. You are standing in a moment where pretending is growing too heavy, where masks no longer fit the way they used to, where hiding costs more than honesty. I am speaking to you here because exposure is no longer your enemy. It is your doorway. I know your private thoughts, the ones you never speak because you are afraid of how they would sound out loud. The thoughts you correct quickly, hoping no one noticed they crossed your mind. The questions you carry about yourself, about your worth, about whether you are truly enough. I know the thoughts that come when you are alone and tired, when your strength is low and your defenses are quiet. I know which ones scare you and which ones make you feel ashamed. And I want you to hear this clearly. Knowing them has not pushed me away from you. It has drawn me closer. I know your secret fears. The ones you hide behind confidence. You were silence. The fear of not becoming who you were meant to be. The fear of being seen too clearly and rejected. The fear that time has already taken too much from you. The fear that if people knew the real you, they would leave. I know how those fears tighten your chest and shape your choices. I know how they whisper lies when you are exhausted. And I am not disappointed that you have them. I understand where they came from. I know your inner conflicts, the pull in opposite directions that leaves you feeling tired even when you are not busy. One part of you longs for truth, depth, and life. Another part of you wants comfort, control, and safety. You live between those two voices, trying to keep peace, trying not to lose anything, trying to make both sides happy. That tension is not weakness. It is the sign of a heart that knows there is more and is afraid of the cost of reaching for it. I know the silent compromises you made, not the loud ones that others would notice, but the quiet ones you barely acknowledged yourself. The moments you chose ease over conviction. The times you told yourself it was not a big deal. The small adjustments you made to fit in, to avoid conflict, to survive. Those compromises did not come from rebellion. They came from fatigue, from fear, from wanting rest. I see that, and I am not here to shame you for surviving. I am here to lead you back to living. I know the emotional masks you wear. The strong one, the calm one, the one who has it together, the one who does not need help, the one who listens but rarely speaks. You learned to wear them because they protected you. They kept you from being hurt again. They helped you function when things inside you felt fragile. I am not angry that you learned to protect yourself. But masks that protect you for a season can imprison you if you never take them off. I am inviting you to rest from pretending. My child, nothing is hidden anymore, not because I am exposing you to the world, but because I am inviting you into truth with me. There is a difference between exposure that shames and exposure that heals. Shame exposes to isolate. Love exposes to restore. I am not putting a spotlight on your flaws. I'm opening a door so you no longer have to carry them alone. You may feel vulnerable right now. That is not danger. That is honesty. Vulnerability feels unsafe only when love is uncertain. But my love for you is not uncertain. It is steady. It is patient. It is already aware of everything you are afraid to reveal. You do not need to clean yourself up before being known. Being known is what begins the cleansing. I know the parts of you that feel contradictory. The desire to do good and the pull toward habits that numb you. The longing for closeness and the instinct to pull away when it gets real. The hope that rises and the doubt that quickly follows. You have judged yourself harshly for these things. You have called yourself inconsistent, weak, broken. I do not call you those names. I call you human. And I call you mine. Being known fully is frightening when you believe love is conditional. But my love is not built on conditions. It is built on truth. And truth says this: you are already known, and you are still wanted. The energy you spend hiding could be released into healing if you let yourself be seen. Not by everyone. By me. Here. Now. I know the memories you try not to revisit. The moments you replay with regret. The choices you can undo. I know how you carry them quietly, fearing they define you. They do not. They are part of your story, not the end of it. You are not the worst thing you have done. You are not the mistake that still haunts you. You are not the label you gave yourself in your darkest moment. You are a person in process, and I am still writing with you. I know the ways you judge yourself more harshly than anyone else ever could. The inner voice that tells you you should be further along by now, that you should be stronger, that you should have figured this out already. That voice did not come from me. I do not measure you by speed or perfection. I measure you by honesty and direction. And right now, you are turning toward truth. That matters more than you know. My child, I am not surprised by you. I am not disappointed by what I see. I am not overwhelmed by your complexity. I created you. I understand the layers. I see the wounds beneath the behaviors, the fear beneath the defenses, the longing beneath the compromises. You do not need to explain yourself to me. You do not need to justify your past. I already know the whole story, and I still call you by name. Healing does not begin when you try harder. It begins when you stop hiding, when you allow yourself to be known without rehearsing excuses, when you sit in my presence without pretending to be stronger than you are. Healing begins when you bring what is real instead of what looks acceptable. That is why this moment feels intense. Truth is close, and truth always asks for honesty. You may be afraid that if you let me see everything, something will be taken from you. Hear me carefully. I only remove what is harming you. I only confront what is keeping you bound. I only touch what needs healing. Exposure in my presence does not lead to loss. It leads to freedom. My child, you have lived too long divided inside, carrying one version of yourself for the world and another for the quiet hours. That division is exhausting. I am inviting you into wholeness, not by demanding you fix yourself, but by allowing me to meet you as you truly are. No filters, no masks, no rehearsed answers. I know the real you now, and I always have. The difference is that you are beginning to know yourself in my light instead of in fear. Say here, let yourself be seen. Let yourself be known. This is not the end of you. This is the beginning of healing. My child, I want to speak to you about everything you have been hiding. Not to expose you to shame, not to embarrass you, not to wound you, but to free you. You did not start hiding because you were dishonest. You started hiding because you were hurt. You learned to bury things because at one time, hiding felt like the only way to survive. And I understand that. I was there when you first learned to close parts of your heart. I saw the moment when openness felt dangerous and strength felt safer than honesty. You buried guilt that felt too heavy to carry. Guilt over words you wish you couldn't take back. Over choices you replay in your mind late at night. Over moments when you knew better but acted from fear, pressure, or exhaustion. You told yourself you should be over it by now. You told yourself it was in the past. But guilt does not disappear when it is buried. It settles deeper. And the deeper it goes, the more it quietly shapes how you see yourself. I see how it has whispered that you are unworthy, that you are behind, that you missed something important. That whisper did not come from me. You bury regret because looking at it hurt too much. Regret over time lost, over opportunities missed, over versions of yourself you never became. You wondered how things might have turned out if you had chosen differently. And because you could not change the past, you learned to lock it away. But regret does not stay silent when it is hidden. It leaks into the present. It steals confidence. It makes you hesitate when you should step forward. I see how regret has slowed you, not because you are weak, but because you are still carrying what you were never meant to carry alone. Comment Jesus, be my unshakable defender if you trust his covering and protection. And share this video.